Hello, everyone, and welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. On today's show, we're welcoming Cynthia Torres. She is a licensed therapist and also the CEO of New Dawn Counseling here in Ventura County. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for joining us on the show.
Oh, thank you, Sandra, for having me over.
Very good. We'd like to talk to you today about some great tips and advice on handling holiday stress and just stress in our everyday lives. I think during this time, holiday time, it can be both enjoyable and it can also be a little stressful for people. So we'd like to have you talk about today a little bit of advice you can share on those tips and solutions that can ease the stress in our lives, and hopefully how you can recognize the signs of stress once it begins and hopefully lessen it.
Oh, perfect. I love the topic actually, because we're in full swing going into the holidays. So perfect topic.
Right. So what I'd like you to do is give us an idea of, once we feel like we're just kind of overwhelmed, what's the best way to handle that?
Well, the way we're trying to approach is a way of holistic. So let's think about something that we could do with our minds to really think things in a different way. And so from the mindset, first of all, I think normalizing that anytime that we are adding something else to our already full plates, it's going to create a little bit of stress. And the stress in general doesn't need to be bad per se. We have a lot of stress, even when we're moving into a beautiful new home. So it's kind of knowing that definitely we are going to experience a little bit of stress because we're adding all this planning and meeting our family and friends. And so it's part of our routine. And with that, I think that is very important for us to think about it in a realistic way and not thinking about perfection. So if we put perfection and really high expectations, most probably we're going to not feel up to par for that. So understanding that things are going to go wrong, and that's totally fine. That's part of being human.
Right.
I think that from the mind part also is good to connect with what's the real reason to celebrate the holidays. And thinking about maybe meeting with family that you haven't been able to see from last year and everything that happened. And what's the real reason? So mainly we have basic needs for connection and sharing with people and focusing on those important needs that we have. Yes, it's going to be messy. Yes, it's not going to be perfect. But if we kind of pay attention to that main goal that we have, I think that we could approach it from that mental part of it. So I don't know if you have any other comments.
Right. I think you really touched on something really important to, really talk about. And that is that sometimes we really do feel we have high expectations. So we're all trying to meet that or, trying to keep up with past traditions and trying to make sure that everybody enjoys themselves. So sometimes, we all tend to do that.
Yes, for sure. It's our natural tendency, yet being kind of bringing a little bit of self-compassion to ourselves that we're just trying to do so much and, we'll do the best that we can. And it is what it is at the end of the day.
Okay. So, it can be very challenging, as we're talking about, to try to get everything organized and done. And so let's talk about priority, making, maybe a priority list of what's important to you in your life and you and your family's life, and how to manage that time better. Give us some idea about that.
Yes. So in terms of prioritizing, I think that's why I was talking about our needs. And so we go back to what is our primary need during the holidays is, I would say, that is mainly connecting. So with that, even when we're having a conversation and the conversation is going to a different place in the middle of a gathering that we have, we could always say, change the subject or say, you know what, I'm just feeling really tired right now. Would it be okay if we put a pause for now and then changing the topic? Because at the end of the day, the priority, you need to be clear on what your priorities are and then being able to address that accordingly. So I think that even from the perspective of physically, we could also manage things in a different way to be able to prioritize. Going back to our physical health is super important, and it so helps us to keep things balanced. So keeping a healthy routine with as much sleep, appropriate nutrition, and some kind of movement, even during the holidays. I know that our schedules get hectic, but trying to keep a routine that definitely helps with managing our levels of stress.
And that's very true. I think that for many of us who are working and managing a home and a family, and you're trying to do everything like shopping and gift giving and going to family gatherings, and then throw traveling in the mix too, which is another stressful thing. It can add a lot to a busy schedule. So I guess I'd like to have you touch on how planning is really the key to making it work for everybody.
Definitely. So actually, we have a lot of control of our environment, and part of it is planning. So if you know that you're already going to take a long trip with your kids, make sure that you have enough activities that are going to be entertaining and engaging for your kids, and that you prepare accordingly, and not at the last minute trying to put it all together, because it's going to become overwhelming. Even in terms of spending, know what your budget is for the spending during the holidays and prioritize. Many times we think that store-bought items are going to be better, but you could just personalize it and make it as beautiful and a lot more meaningful for people. So then sticking to your budget and not creating more stress, not only for the holidays, but after the holidays. So those are some of the things that you could plan for. Also, as I said, when you are thinking about meeting with your family or with your friends, and tendencies right now, talking a lot about vaccination, politics, things like that, that would create a lot of stress. You could easily move away from those conversations and go into something that feels more connecting and kind to yourself. So that could be part of the planning, that you could plan the type of conversations that you could have with the people that you are going to be meeting.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, holiday commitments and certainly cost and spending involved during, holiday time can be probably, to a lot of people overwhelming. And so is it really possible to say no, or, kind of pull back and keep things more simple, and in that regard, take time for yourself, as you mentioned? Are all those things really possible at this time of year?
It is. Actually, it's about prioritizing, as we were talking about, and being able to say no. And it doesn't need to be a mean no, but just understanding that we all have different capacities. When I am working full time and when I have kids, my capacity is going to be limited. And so just explaining that, I'm not feeling up to staying up so late, or whatever activities it feels too much for you. Even limiting the time that you're going to be spending at the stores. I know that we have to prepare for all the traffic and the extra busyness of the season. So just trying to plan accordingly and think about how is that going to affect your routine. But you could definitely say no. And as I said, part of a conversation that is not going to where we want to go, we could always say, I don't feel comfortable with this topic. Can we talk about something different? Or doing a pause in the middle of the conversation saying, I really don't feel like having this at this point.
Yeah, I think, it's a situation where some of us may find ourselves overspending, overextending ourselves. So it does, as you say, help to say no and take time for yourself. I think that was something you touched on that I would like you to, mention again. Taking time to make sure you're healthy and you're doing what you can for yourself so that you can enjoy everything. You can't enjoy something if you're not, in a good place.
No, for sure. And even within a gathering, you could take time for yourself if you feel that it becomes too much because of the noise or the conversation or
Sure.
the people that you are dealing with or the amount of food, and you are overstimulated at some points. You could also
Right.
kind of move to a more quiet, peaceful space where you are taking time of yourself. I had found that you don't even need to spend a lot of time connecting with yourself, but if you take that minute to be able to breathe
Right.
or focus on
Sure.
something that is important for you. And actually, I want to bring it up that we are in the season for the holidays, but one of the important things is really to become grateful for anything and everything that we have at this point. I think that we all had a difficult, challenging time during the pandemic and even post-pandemic. And there is a lot of people that have lost a lot. And so just being grateful for what we have, the opportunity to be able to gather with friends, with family, having a meal, just getting to share those moments, those special moments, and creating memories becomes super important. But becoming grateful for everything that is happening, that might be a moment of connection and a moment of time for yourself that you could use at any point. I actually have, at one point, I was getting alarms every 3 hours with reminder that every time that the alarm will go off, I would think about something that I'm grateful for, because the more you practice, the more you see all the beauty that is happening in your life.
Very good. And thank all of you for joining us today on Our Ventura TV. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everyone.